Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to Grandma Lily English. I'm so happy you're here with me again. Tonight I have a wonderful story to share with you. It's the story of a curious little girl named Alice, who made one simple decision that changed her life forever. One quiet afternoon, she saw a white rabbit running past her. It looked ordinary at first, but just a few moments later, Alice found herself following that rabbit into a world where nothing was impossible, and every corner held a new surprise. So find a comfortable place to sit, relax, listen carefully, and let's begin our journey together. Before we begin, here's a small listening tip for today. Don't worry if you don't understand every single word. Instead, listen to the story, pay attention to the emotions, and try to understand the meaning from the situation. The more stories you hear, the more natural English will become. Now take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy today's adventure.
Grandma, can I ask you something?
Of course, Noah. You can always ask me anything.
Do you think magic is real?
That's a beautiful question. Some people believe magic lives in castles or fairy tales, but I think the greatest magic lives inside our imagination. When we are curious enough to explore, ordinary moments can become extraordinary adventures. Many years ago, I discovered a story in this very book about a little girl named Alice. She wasn't looking for an adventure that day, but sometimes adventures find us when we least expect them. All she did was follow a white rabbit, and from that moment, everything changed.
Just because she followed a rabbit?
Yes, Noah. Sometimes the smallest choice becomes the beginning of the greatest journey. Now let's discover what happened to Alice. It was a warm and peaceful spring afternoon. Alice was sitting under a large tree with her older sister, who was quietly reading a book. The birds were singing, a gentle breeze moved through the leaves, and everything around them felt calm and still. Alice looked at the pages of her sister's book and sighed. "There aren't even any pictures," she whispered to herself, "and there aren't any conversations either. What kind of book is that?" She leaned back against the tree and watched the white clouds slowly drift across the bright blue sky. Butterflies danced from flower to flower, and for a moment she closed her eyes, wishing that something exciting would happen. Just then a small movement caught her attention. A white rabbit came running across the grass. At first, Alice didn't think much about it. After all, rabbits often ran through the countryside. But this rabbit was different. It was wearing a little coat, carrying a golden pocket watch, and it seemed to be in a terrible hurry. "Oh dear," the rabbit cried. "I'm going to be late." Alice sat up immediately. She had never seen a rabbit wearing clothes, carrying a watch, or talking like a person. Her heart filled with curiosity. Without stopping to think, she jumped to her feet and began running after the mysterious white rabbit. The rabbit hurried through the trees, crossed a small field, and suddenly disappeared into a deep hole beneath an old oak tree. Alice stopped for just a moment and looked down into the dark opening. She knew she should probably turn around and go back, but her curiosity was stronger than her fear. Taking one deep breath, Alice stepped forward and followed the white rabbit into the unknown. For a moment, Alice thought she was falling much too fast, but then she realized something strange. She wasn't falling like a stone. Instead, she was floating gently through the air, as if someone had slowed time itself. The walls around her were covered with wooden shelves filled with old books, tiny clocks, glass bottles, and beautiful paintings. Some pictures showed places she had never seen before, while others looked strangely familiar. "This is the most unusual place I've ever seen," Alice said softly. As she continued drifting downward, she reached out and picked up a small book from one of the shelves. She smiled as she looked at the cover, but before she could open it, she gently floated past another row of shelves. Everything around her felt quiet, mysterious, and almost dreamlike. Finally, her feet touched the ground. Alice looked around and found herself standing in a long hallway filled with doors. There were tall doors, short doors, round doors, and doors painted in every color she could imagine. She walked from one door to another, turning each handle with hope. But every single door was locked. In the middle of the hallway stood a tiny glass table. On top of it rested a small golden key. Alice carefully picked it up and looked around. "Perhaps this key belongs to one of these doors," she whispered. She tried the first door. Nothing. The second. Nothing again. Then she noticed a very small door hidden behind a curtain. She placed the key into the lock. Click. The little door slowly opened. On the other side was the most beautiful garden Alice had ever seen. Bright flowers covered the ground, colorful birds flew between the trees, and a sparkling fountain shone in the warm sunlight. "It looks wonderful," Alice whispered with a smile. But there was one problem. The doorway was far too small. No matter how hard she tried, she simply couldn't fit through it. Alice sat down beside the tiny door and sighed. "I only wish I were a little smaller." Just then, something caught her eye. On the table stood a tiny glass bottle that she hadn't noticed before. Around its neck was a small label. In beautiful letters, it said only 2 words: "Drink me." Alice picked up the bottle and looked at it carefully. Should she trust it, or should she leave it exactly where it was? She had no idea that the next choice she made would change everything. Now, let's take a few useful words and expressions from today's story. 1. Curious means wanting to know or learn something. Example: Alice was curious about the white rabbit. Curious people often discover amazing things. 2. Follow means to go after someone or something. Example: Alice followed the white rabbit. Sometimes we follow our dreams, and sometimes we follow our hearts. 3. Adventure. An adventure is an exciting journey or experience. Example: Alice's adventure began with one small decision. Every new book can become a new adventure. Now, let's practice together. Please repeat after me. Curious, follow. Adventure, excellent. The more you hear these words in stories, the easier they become to remember and use in everyday English. Today's story teaches us something very important. Alice didn't know where the rabbit would lead her. She simply chose to be curious. Life is often the same. Sometimes the greatest opportunities begin with one small question, one brave step, or one unexpected decision. Today's grammar point is simple past tense. When we tell a story about something that already happened, we usually use the simple past. For example, Alice followed the white rabbit. She found a small golden key. The little door opened slowly. As you listen to English stories, try to notice the past tense verbs. It's one of the easiest and most natural ways to improve your grammar. Alice has found a mysterious bottle with the words, "Drink me." It looks small. It looks harmless, but appearances can be deceiving. What will happen if she drinks it? Will she finally be able to enter the beautiful garden? Or will she discover that Wonderland is even stranger than she imagined? We'll find out together in our next episode. Until then, keep your curiosity alive. Keep reading. Keep dreaming. And remember, every great adventure begins with one small step. I'll see you again very soon.
Grandma, if I had found that little bottle, I don't think I would have been brave enough to drink it.
Maybe not, Noah. But sometimes courage doesn't mean being fearless. Sometimes it simply means taking one small step into the unknown, even when you don't know what will happen next.
Do you think Alice will drink it?
We'll discover that together in our next story. And I have a feeling that Wonderland is about to become even more surprising. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. If you enjoyed today's story, please give this video a like. Subscribe to Grandma Lily English and share it with someone who is learning English. Every story helps us learn new words, improve our listening, and discover something meaningful about life. Until next time, keep learning, keep smiling, keep wondering, and never stop being curious. Goodbye, my dear friends. I'll see you in our next adventure. Goodbye, and take care.